All right, so this video will cover how to create multi-view sketches. We'll be talking about this in the next 2 units. So there's a lot of information to learn here and a lot of information to understand about how to go about um, using this process, creating this process. What you see pictured here right now is I drew a rough sketch of an isometric of a part that we've done up until this point. We've done it at least 2 times. And so now what we want to do is convey this information in a manner that we can send this into a manufacturing situation and have the manufacturer create this part for us. But we can't just give him the isometric that's featured here. Can't just give him this. We need to give him what we call a layout of the drawing. And the layout will consist of 3 principal views. There'll be a front view, there'll be a right side view, and then there'll be a top view. There's 6 principal views altogether. There's also a bottom view, a view on the back side, and then a view on the left side. But right now, though, we want to just concentrate on the process of how to create the process on how to create a multi-view sketch and how this process can be used to create multi-view sketches of even more complex drawings. So what you see right now is I have all the surfaces of this object labeled A through J. That's a little J right there. So this is surface A for me. So my line of sight in the front view is, if this is my line of sight, I can only see surface A, which is this L shape. I can't see around the corner. I can't see letter G from here. Nor can I see over top the object and see letter B from here. I can only see surface A. What I've gone and done already is I created the top view over here. And so I'm going to label this top view. And in my top view, my 2-dimensional top view, I see letters B, letter C, letter D, and letter F. That's my line of sight from the top view. If I'm standing at this position, my line of sight is B, C, D, and F. I cannot see any of these other surfaces because they're not in my line of sight. So now what I want to do is go about the process of creating the other 2 missing views. Now when I'm done with this process, your layout or your multi-view drawing should be organized in this manner each and every time. Okay, they should be organized in this manner each and every time. So to lay out the front view, I'm going to project what we call project some points. And the points I'm going to project are this point, and this point. I'm going to project those points down into where the front view will exist. So I'm going to go ahead and write, I want my front view to exist right here. And so from here, I'm just going to take what we call a light construction line. We're going to study these line types as we go through the curriculum. And so with this point, I'm going to use a light construction line to project these points. Okay. Now that I've done that, when I go and look at my front view, the only letter that I see on my front view is this letter A, and it's shaped like an L. So I'm just gonna put this letter A right here. And I know my front view can only be as long as the top view because all these views that we're going to create all come from this object. So I know that my front view, my baseline of my front view, you hear me say that a lot, the baseline goes from this point over to this point. Now this would be considered an object line. This is a line that defines the object. That's what it's called, an object line. They're heavy, they're thicker versus the light construction lines that I use to project these points from. I know that I got a height right here. Now, I'm not drawing this to uh, any specific dimension. I'm just, I created this shape, and if I had dimensions, which we'll get into later, then I can specifically say, okay, so many boxes uh, equals so much distance. For instance, I could say each box, just for example, each box equals zero point 0.5 inches. So then I could come back if I had started that way, I would have counted the number of boxes and multiplied by zero point 0.5. For this particular case, this is just a demonstration on how to create these um, multi-view drawings. So now what I want to come back to this point, which is this point, and I'm going to draw a line up. That's that. And so now I've just created this line. Now I'm going to create this line. Now I'm going to create this line of the shape. I'm going to bring that down. And then I'm going to bring this line all the way out to the end. And I'm going to close that surface. Now there's one point that I've failed to project, and that would be this point. Because the cut of the object is featured here, and the cut of the object is featured in the top view. Well, because the cut is not in our line of sight, we can't see through the object to see that there's a cut right here. So we have to represent that cut by projecting this line. I'm sorry, by projecting this point. And then we use some dash lines in here. And what that denotes is in this view, there is a surface that is what we call hidden from view. So this is now a hidden line. It's telling us that there is a surface that's hidden from our view. We can't see, there's a surface here, but we can't see through the object to see that surface. So we have to represent in this view that that cut is here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to project from the front view over and from the top view over and down to get what we call our right side view. So to do that, in the front view, I got 3 points, point 1, point 2, point 3. And so I'm going to project them over. Once again, these are light construction lines. I'm going to project them to that point. I'm going to project to this point and project this point. If you see, now when you see this process, it's going to I'm basically just projecting the object with these light construction lines, and you'll see it start to fall into place. So now I want to go to the top view and project these points. So what I've done is, in this method, what we do is we drop a 45-degree angle between the views, between this view and this view. So there's an angle of 45 degrees. And how I'm getting that is I'm just cutting a diagonal on the boxes of the grid paper, which we did in the last assignment. Now I can project these points out of the top view. So I'm going to project this point over, project this point over, project this point over, and this point. And then I'm going to drop them straight down. Now I know it doesn't look like it at this present time, but when I create the object lines for this view, you'll see it all fall into place. So when I look in this view, I see surface G. I know surface G is going to exist here. So I'm going to darken surface G. I'm sorry, I'm not darkening surface G. I'm highlighting the lines that make up surface G. I know that H exists over here. A little bit rough right there. I missed that mark. I'm gonna box in surface G. There's a J existing right here in the middle. Put surface J in the middle. There's a surface E right here. So surface E, now we have to look at our view and say, okay, surface E consists of this little kind of U shape. So I come up, over, down, over, up, over, and down. I'm going to label this, and I'm just going to abbreviate right side view. Once again, this is a process of how to develop a multi-view sketch for any given part. Now, if you are following this video and going to use this video, my suggestion is uh, start the video over, and whatever I produce, you should stop the video and produce it as well. And I think if you follow the flow of what I did, it'll really lay itself out nice and easy.